What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about alt season in this video. The purpose of this video is to decipher the charts with the Bitcoin dominance and the US dollar index. Both of these charts, whenever they are growing, it tends to stagger the growth of the altcoin markets. Whenever we see both of these charts take a sharp decline or at least assume a downtrend, this can benefit the altcoin markets, and really we can see a liftoff. The beginning of alt season, as it were, can be deciphered using these charts. So we're gonna go through that today. If that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get into it. I feel like we go through these charts, we talk about them at least once a week, if not every other week or something like that. It's just good to keep up with, right? Looking at the Bitcoin dominance here, I think this high right now, if you remember this time around, it was basically at the low before I was convinced that this was something more serious, right? The whole time I was skeptical to say we could go up to about 64% or higher. You can go back and watch my videos from any of these weeks talking about the dominance if you don't believe me. Down here, I definitely thought that was the high. I wasn't assuming that we'd go higher after that. It definitely did seem as though we were going to go lower, and that was the top of the dominance. But it took me a while to get there, right? It took me basically down at this point, basically at the absolute low. I FOMO'd the low, man, and at that point, I think we all did, right? I think everybody was assuming alt season was going to happen at that point, but at that point we came over. All I'm trying to say by all of that is this time around it seems a lot more obvious. It seems a lot more obvious that alt season is definitely upon us. We have a very big wick here to top off the dominance right there. The last time that we had something like this, it was in last cycle, November, December 2020. We had this very big wick to end it. You did not have bearish divergence. You had a slightly higher high in your RSI, but you did stop. Where'd you stop? You stopped right around the 76, something like that. Where you're at now, where you stopped, you do have bearish divergence. You stopped right at about 78. Right there, 78 was your first peak. Your next peak was a little bit lower in the RSI, but that's good, right? That's good if you want to see the dominance drop. You get these higher highs here, volumes dying off, lower levels in the RSI. That definitely would suggest that we're going to see some kind of correction happen, right? Weekly bearish divergence is nothing to be taken lightly, you guys. And it's not technically there. We don't officially have weekly bearish divergence until this week or any week closes red. Theoretically, the next 2 days, 23 hours, we could continue to grow higher, and this bearish divergence could go away. Watch it go away. Watch there be no bearish divergence. As soon as we get a higher high, that's when we top, just like we did last time here, right? I don't know. And maybe we do, maybe we don't. But I think if we look at this beyond just the RSI and using our eyes, looking at this as a very, very suggestive candle that we would likely top and go lower. Other than that, if we use our Fibonacci tool, if we use the relative high here to the relative low there, you can see that we've tipped the 786. Now, oftentimes when you tip the 786, whenever you run right through your golden ratio and go right to your 786, as we did here, and that's debatable. I guess we found resistance here, came down, and then went up. But I would say all in one fell swoop, we went right up to that 786, tipped it. To confirm a rejection off the 786, and by the way, a rejection off the 786 almost always leads to a 0.5, if not a 382 retracement, sometimes even lower than that, right? And for the dominance, we're looking for something that would be to the 236 or lower. Of course, we want something lower. The lower it goes, the better the alt season is, right? But to confirm the 786 rejection, you need to close back below the 618, which is at about, is that 57.8 or 57.6? I think it's 57.84%. On a weekly basis, on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, whatever, man, any kind of significant time frame, we close below that 618 there, the golden ratio, after tipping this 786, and almost always, you guys, I can't tell you how often I see this stuff, we rip down likely to the 382. It's less common to bounce off the 0.5, but even that, we would have that bearish divergence on the weekly. We would be, if we were to go to the 0.5, that would take us below this low here. So even that would cause a drop in the dominance of the likes we haven't seen this cycle so far, which would imply that alt season, or at least an altcoin run, is upon us. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I would assume that this drop taking us below this low, which I think we've at least established that in the dominance, likely does not promote higher highs afterwards, right? Likely we are in the beginning of some kind of downtrend, or maybe even some kind of major drop off like we see cycle after cycle. I want to do this real quick, and then we'll look at the DXY just so people are familiar and aware of like the importance of the dominance in case some people are new here. If we go to total, right, this is the total crypto market cap. Okay, so this essentially is everything in crypto, right? It's the total crypto market cap. So whenever this thing's moving up, everything's gaining value. Whenever it's moving down, everything's losing value, essentially, right? Whenever you see, if we put it in log, it is in log. Okay, cool. Whenever you see this zoomed out a little bit, you can see that the total crypto market cap began moving here. It started moving up. The dominance hadn't really begun to tank yet at that point, but when the dominance did start to tank, which is right here, you can notice that there was a little bit of a shift. We were growing at this pace, and then we started growing at this pace. Look at how much faster the overall crypto space grew once the Bitcoin dominance tanked. This is the total, the red line there, that's the total crypto market cap. So that includes Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's a big part of the market cap. Even at a 36% of the market cap, it's a big part of this total of the red line here, the chart there. I'm going to try and change the color so it stands out a little bit better. Let's make it orange, right? Even as the dominance is dropping, everything's growing faster, Bitcoin included, right? So it's very good once the dominance drops. That's all I'm trying to say there. We look at it over here, same kind of thing. Your yellow line, the orange line here, you found your low here, you were growing all this time, but what happened right whenever the dominance topped off? That's whenever you saw your finale finish. To be fair, this is a lot less pronounced, it's a lot less dramatic than the cycle was before, but still we saw things pick up a little bit and it was good for altcoins nonetheless, right? Here, we haven't really had that yet. We've been growing and growing and growing, and that's fun. But once the dominance drops, we were expecting a little pickup in the price as well, right? Last cycle was a bit weak. This cycle, we're looking for a little bit more, but I just wanted to go over that in case anybody isn't clear as to why we want the dominance to drop. It's normally a good thing for crypto, okay? In fact, it makes a lot of sense that it would be a good thing for crypto. If Bitcoin dominance dropped and the average altcoin didn't pump, that would mean Bitcoin's dropping faster than the average altcoin, and that just doesn't make sense. That doesn't happen. So oftentimes you see these drops in the midst of pumps. It makes sense that we're going to drop for everything else that I said earlier, but just to surmise it, weekly higher highs on a closing basis, weekly lower highs on the RSI here. It looks like you went from an uptrend to a kind of rather sideways trend. You're in this, actually, it looks almost like a downtrend, like a really long phasing downtrend. If you were to keep ping-ponging in this range, man, it could take you until the end of this year just to get to the oversold zone. So you're in a very long-term downtrend in your weekly RSI already, but you haven't seen the turnaround in the price yet. And I'm assuming we'll get a sharp decline as we do every single cycle, and that will ignite alt season. This was the high. You guys, you don't understand. You don't understand if you're not seeing this for what it is right now. Let me just make it very clear. Last week was the high in the Bitcoin dominance. Alt season is starting. It's happening right now. Get your chips ready. Get your cards ready. Put them in the right places, you guys. Put your cash in the right coins. The end of this month is going to be spectacular. Going into March, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be really good stuff. So I don't think, and I'm sure that there's plenty of other YouTubers. I don't know. I don't watch too much YouTube, at least these days. I've been moving. I've got some stuff going on in my life, but I'm missing out on crypto YouTube. I don't know what people are saying, but I would assume most people are not crazy bullish right now, right? And in fact, I think we can quantify that, or at least observe that if we look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index real quick. Let's just see what that says. Crypto Fear and Greed at 38. We're at a 38, you guys, and the dominance, it's preemptive to say, it is preemptive to say, but I'm telling you, I am more convinced now that this is more convincing now. We're not even done with this week, this second week here. I'm more convinced this was a top than this was back here. Everybody's talking about how the dominance might just keep growing. People are saying alt season's not going to happen. Back here, everybody was saying it's the beginning of alt season. I was hesitant until literally the low, right? And then I got it wrong. I FOMO'd the low, whatever. But here it's different. I'm immediately, you can go back to whenever this top came in. Last week, I made a video talking about the dominance, if not earlier this week. I think it was last week. But immediately, man, it's identifiable. And all over the market, or at least to me, as what it seems, and by the way of the Fear and Greed Index, it seems like people are worried right now. I wonder, what was the Fear and Greed Index at when we were in November 18th? I just wonder, because we can actually observe that too. Go back a year, go back to November. November 18th would have been right here. Look at this. Look at this, right? You see the difference? Do you see the difference in the dynamic? How ready we are for alt season? Look at how high the Fear and Greed Index was back here, right? We're in a much more bearish posturing for the dominance now than we ever could be back here. Everybody back here, as soon as we dropped, it wasn't even down here. People were celebrating like alt season began right here. Literally right at the first instance of a red week. That was it. People were excited right there, right? Nobody's excited about it now. And in fact, people are fearful and they're saying there's no alt season at all. It's totally different. And wouldn't it make sense, you guys? Most people in the markets, in case you haven't picked up on it by now, most people are wrong most of the time. So if most people are fearful right now, most people aren't thinking an alt season is going to happen when it so clearly is, guys. This is the beginning. This is the true top. It's undeniable. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be great. It's going to be what's phenomenal about this, right? That was the first week. It only picks up from here. As we get to the end of this month, as we go into March, you guys, we might literally see a quarter of a year where it's just nonstop crazy bullishness to the upside. You guys have no idea what's coming your way. And I don't know how many people are saying this right now, but if it's not 90% of YouTubers saying this, I don't understand why, man. It's crazy. This is literally, I'm spending so much. I feel like I'm being like a missionary trying to preach right now, but genuinely, guys, you need to get set. You need to get set. If you have friends or family members that you wish could get into crypto and they're slacking on it, you need to slap them silly and get them into crypto right now, because things are about to take off. They really, really are. We're seeing it alone just in the Bitcoin dominance and in the fear and greed index. It's so obvious. I hope it's obvious. It's screaming at us right now. I'm basically screaming at you right now. But let's look at the DXY, right? This video started off a little slow, but man, it just looking at the charts, realizing where we're at, the fear and greed index thing, man, that jacked me up completely. When I pieced together that the DXY literally, when the thought came into my head that the DXY right now, the circumstances that we're in now it's a total 180. It's completely opposite of what the circumstances were here, but we actually have the end of the dominance. It's not validated yet. But you heard it here first, man. Or I'm sure not first. I'm sure there's plenty of people who've been calling for the top here as well. But all I'm trying to say, I don't understand. I don't understand where all the fear is coming from. It's so obvious that we're about to start things. DXY, to make it more obvious, okay? We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to compare the total to new price scale, or yeah, on the new price scale. We'll get log. There we go. Okay, perfect. Let's put it in a monthly basis. Zoom this in so that we're just looking at that. Okay, so I hope it's clear as to what's what. The red line is total. We'll make it orange so it stands out a little bit more. And then the charts, of course, the candlesticks, that's just the DXY. The DXY, for those of you who are unaware, the DXY is the dollar index, the US dollar index. It measures itself versus a basket of other currencies in the world, pretty big, significant currencies. So think of this chart here. When it moves up, the dollar is gaining strength. When it moves down, the dollar is losing strength, right? Or gaining weakness. Generally speaking, whenever the dollar gains value, and you can see it here, from a low point there when we started this expansive phase, you can see Bitcoin had a hell of a time growing. In fact, it started its bear market in these conditions. When did the bear market end? It ended right whenever the DXY stopped expanding. There's no coincidence there. In fact, that's very much how the relationship is. Now, I don't want to be confusing here, but just because the DXY is moving up doesn't mean Bitcoin can't move up. Sometimes we do see them move up, even down together. Sometimes we do. They're not 100% opposite of each other, but the major phases themselves, right? These major expansive phases, major consolidation phases, they tend to allow or prevent Bitcoin from growing in certain ways. Let me explain, right? Here, you're expanding. What was this? This was a bear market for not just Bitcoin, but all of crypto. You stopped expanding. The DXY stopped expanding. Crypto came to an end of its bear market, started its bull market. It's kicking off its bull market really well, but the DXY is still consolidating. It's not moving down, it's not moving up, it's just moving sideways. If anything, it's getting higher highs, but the crypto markets are still moving up together with this, even though it's getting higher highs. What happens when the DXY tops off and starts moving down? Crypto market shoots, man. It grows at a much faster rate. You can see it, right? Simultaneously, instantaneously, at the exact same moment. Same thing here, right? Crypto markets bottom out. That's the bear market there. We're growing all the way up through. The DXY is growing too, but right when the DXY starts to crap the bed a little bit, when it starts to go down, the markets pick up. We see that end of cycle, and make no mistake, that end of cycle finale ended right when we were at the lows for the DXY, okay? Now I want to offer the idea here that similar to this peak, it's like this peak. We expanded, we consolidated. We've got our highest peak in this consolidation range so far, and in fact, I wonder from a time perspective if it's it almost looks perfect. Let's just see. 22 months. I don't know. Maybe we're at a little bit further than that. Yeah, 29 months, 30 months, whatever. Still, though, we're at this peak right here. And yes, this is a lower peak. Yes, this is a higher peak. But same thing. It's a consolidation phase, whatever. I think we're about to drop, you guys. And what happens every time we drop? Whether it's this much, whether it's just this much, what if it's this much, what if it's just a little bit, I don't care if we return to these lows or form a higher low. If we're going to drop now and it's going to take months, likely we see crypto begin its cycle ending finale. The best part of the cycle starts after the Bitcoin halving. The best part of the cycle starts once the DXY is not growing, and in fact, whenever it is dropping in value, whenever we have a loss in strength, and also whenever the dominance drops as well. I don't know if I said that already, but something else to put into mind here, which I thought about recently, but do you guys remember who the president was whenever the DXY dropped last time, whenever the dollar lost its value? Do you remember who the president was last time? And do you remember that he was saying a weak dollar was good for the economy? Well, we got the same president now who says the exact same thing. He's saying the same stuff. We need a strong dollar. No, and make no mistake, when did the peak of this come in? When did we get this peak in the DXY? You guessed it, right when that president from back here got inaugurated, right? Same guy, same place, same end of cycle finale. Am I connecting the dots? Is it clear to you yet? I don't know, man. It's not political, right? You don't have to like the current administration. You don't have to like Donald Trump. This is not my point, right? Whether you like him or you hate him, I'm not trying to make a point on that. I'm saying, quite literally, Donald Trump was president back here. Okay? This was the beginning. This was his first year of presidency, was 2017. This is his first year of presidency now. And back then he was saying, we need a weak dollar. It's good for the economy. He's saying the same things now. He doesn't want a strong dollar, you guys. He's been very, very open about that, okay? So, beyond just all the looks, if we do this on the weekly RSI here, if we look at the weekly RSI for the DXY, you got a double top in your weekly RSI, higher highs here. You absolutely are topping off, you guys. Absolutely, you're turning things around. Absolutely, the DXY is going to see some kind of major pullback from here. You went all the way up to your golden ratio, rejected down. It's common to find support at the 0.5, which it doesn't look like we're doing. I think we would have done it already. It's common to find support at the 382. So what we need to do is get below the 382. We get below the 382. We really look to retrace all the way back down to these lows and even go below them, which I think would be phenomenal for crypto and for all risk-on assets. But even a small move, quote unquote small, down to the 382, I think that would be enough on a monthly basis, probably a multi-month basis, to allow things to grow. And I don't think it's going to be a straight shot down the whole time, but I do expect that inevitably we will see prices that are either back to, I say prices, readings for the DXY that are down here, if not lower. If not lower, right? We're not going to expand. What if we expand? What if we're in expansive phase right now? I want to draw this real quick, okay? Here, we expanded. Expansions will get lines, okay? We're going to draw a line for the expansion phases. I think it's very obvious. Is this an expansion phase? No. Was this an expansion phase? No. It was just growing. It was growing inside the consolidation phase, but these are very clearly the expansion phases. Now I'm going to draw the consolidation phases. Right? Is this one, does this match the length of time that either of these matched? No. But the expansion phase looks the exact same. So I think that we've got more to go. An expansion in the DXY is not what we have to worry about. In fact, dropping in the DXY is, I think, what we have to look forward to. In fact, there's a real possibility, not that we just go below these lows, guys, but we go significantly below these lows. We've got this higher low trend here in the DXY, and I feel like I'm trailing off a little bit, but man, down here, it wouldn't be crazy at all to go all the way down there, in my opinion. And a move like that in the DXY, I mean, man, this is 2017. From a high to a low, right? That was 2017. That was a phenomenal finish to the cycle that this 15% drop in the DXY provided for us. The high to low here, that's about a 12% drop. We didn't even get that last cycle, did we? Maybe we did actually. Okay, we got about that. So, I don't know. It's actually even a little bit smaller, but tomato, whatever, man. It's going to be good. It's the right circumstances, okay? DXY dropping, Bitcoin dominance dropping, crypto fear and greed index in the fearful zones. It all makes sense. I hope it makes sense. If you like the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Get your money ready, you guys. If you've got any money in coins that you're not certain about and you want to move them around, now is the time to do it. I don't generally suggest, and none of this is financial advice, do whatever you want. I'm not a financial advisor anyways. I don't generally suggest that you ever swap a coin that's being boring for a coin that's being exciting. Generally, when you do that, when things start to pick up, when things get exciting, it's oftentimes the exciting coin that performs less and the boring coin that outperforms the market. So I don't suggest doing that. But if you have any coins that are like boring and you want to swap a boring coin for a boring coin that you have more vindication in, or more, I don't know, vindication, what was it? Conviction in, then I think that's okay, right? Again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. If you have coins that are both pumping up, they're both moving up, but you decide, you've got two exciting coins, but you decide you want to put more into one of the exciting coins, you want to put more into one of the exciting coins. I don't know how much sense that makes. Go ahead and do that, but don't switch boring coins for exciting coins. Now is the time. It might be the last window of an opportunity we have to mess things around, to mess with things, move things around, and get our plays set up the way that we want to get them set up. But if I had one bit of advice with that to carry with, that you carry with in this time of trying to figure out what you want to buy or what you want to be set up with on this upcoming alt season, I don't know why I'm getting so tied with my words. It's that you should not swap your boring coins for your exciting coins. Okay, don't do that. Definitely don't do that, right? I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy. Bye-bye.